File from India Office Archive details how priceless items were extracted from colony as trophies of conquest. 5 years ago, Buckingham Palace marked its summer opening with an exhibition celebrating the then Prince Charles's 70th birthday, with a display of his favorite pieces from the royal collection, Britain's official trove of items connected to the monarchy. The prince had a very, very strong hand in the selection, the senior curator said. Among the sculptures, paintings, and other exhibits was a long gold girdle, inlaid with 19 large emeralds, once used by an Indian Maharaja to decorate his horses. It was a curious choice to put into the exhibition in light of the violent means by which it had come into the hands of the royal family. As part of its Cost of the Crown series, The Guardian has uncovered a remarkable 46-page file in the archives of the India Office, the government department that was responsible for Britain's rule over the Indian subcontinent. It details an investigation, apparently commissioned by Queen Mary, the grandmother of Elizabeth II, into the imperial origins of her jewels. The report, from 1912, explains how priceless pieces, including Charles's emerald belt, were extracted from India as trophies of conquest and later given to Queen Victoria. The items described are now owned by the monarch as property of the British Crown. A journal records a tour in 1837 of the Punjab area in North India by the society diarist Fanny Eden and her brother George, the Governor-General of the British Raj at the time. They visited Ranjit Singh, the Maharaja in Lahore, who had signed a treaty of friendship with the British 6 years earlier. The half-blind Singh wore few, if any, precious stones, Eden wrote in her journal, but his entourage was positively drowning in them. So plentiful were the Maharaja's gems that he puts his very finest jewels on his horses, and the splendor of their harness and housing surpasses anything you can imagine, she wrote. Eden later confided in her journal, "If ever we are allowed to plunder this kingdom, I shall go straight to their stables." 12 years later, Singh's youngest son and heir, Duleep, was forced to sign over the Punjab to the conquering forces of the British East India Company. As part of the conquest, the company did indeed plunder the horse's emeralds, as well as Singh's most precious stone, the legendary Koh-I-Noor diamond. Today, the Koh-I-Noor sits in the crown of Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, on display at the Tower of London, and it has become an emblem of Britain's tortured relationship with its imperial history. Anita Anand, a journalist and historian who co-wrote a book titled Koh-I-Noor on the Diamond, said it was a beautiful and cold reminder of British supremacy during the Raj, the period between 1858 and 1947, when India was ruled by the Crown. Its facets reflect the fate of a boy king who was separated from his mother, Anand said. The stone, too, was taken far away from his home, recut and diminished. Anand said, "That is not how India sees itself today. Buckingham Palace is plainly aware of the sensitivities surrounding looted artifacts. After the Indian government let it be known that for Camilla, the queen consort, to wear the Koh-I-Noor at Charles's coronation would elicit painful memories of the colonial past, the palace announced she would swap it for a less contentious diamond. But, as was discovered by Queen Mary, the Koh-I-Noor was not the only gem taken from Singh's treasury to have found its way to the British monarchy. Among the jewels identified in the document found by The Guardian is a short necklace of 4 very large spinel rubies, the largest of which is a 325.5 carat spinel that later came to be identified as the Timur ruby. Its famous name is erroneous. Research by the academic Susan Strong in 1996 concluded it was probably never owned by Timur, a Mongol conqueror. And it is a spinel, a red stone similar to, but chemically distinct from, a ruby. Elizabeth II was shown handling it in the 1969 BBC documentary Royal Family and was clearly acquainted with the myths surrounding it. The history, of course, is very fascinating. It belonged to so many kings of Persia and Mughal emperors until Queen Victoria was sent it from India, she observed. The Queen was never pictured wearing the item. However, she may have worn another of the Lahore treasures, identified in the India Office report as a pearl necklace consisting of 224 large pearls. In her 1987 study of royal jewelry, Leslie Field described one of the Queen Mother's most impressive two-row pearl necklaces, made from 222 pearls, with a clasp of two magnificent rubies surrounded by diamonds that had originally belonged to the ruler of the Punjab, almost certainly a reference to the same necklace. In 2012, Elizabeth II attended a gala festival at the Royal Opera House in London to celebrate her Diamond Jubilee. Photographs showed her wearing a multi-string pearl necklace with a ruby clasp. Were these Ranjit Singh's pearls? There was speculation they may have been, though Buckingham Palace was unable to confirm either way. Queen Mary's interest appears to have been prompted by curiosity about the origin of some of her pearls, rather than any moral concern about the manner in which they were obtained. But a Buckingham Palace spokesperson said slavery and colonialism were matters that His Majesty takes profoundly seriously. Shashi Tharoor, formerly an undersecretary at the United Nations and currently an MP in India, said, "We have finally entered an era where colonial loot and pillage is being recognized for what it really was, rather than being dressed up as the incidental spoils of some noble civilizing mission." As we are seeing increasingly, the return of stolen property is always a good thing. Generations to come will wonder why it took civilized nations so long to do the right thing. After Queen Victoria's death, the Koh-I-Noor was set in the crown of Queen Alexandra, the wife of Edward VII, that was used to crown her at their coronation in 1902. The diamond was transferred to Queen Mary's crown in 1911, and finally to Queen Elizabeth the Queen Mother's crown in 1937. When the Queen Mother died in 2002, the crown was placed on top of her coffin for the lying in state and funeral. Queen Camilla is set to be crowned with Queen Mary's crown at the coronation of King Charles III on the 6th of May 2023, but without the Koh-I-Noor diamond. All these crowns are on display in the Jewel House at the Tower of London, with crystal replicas of the diamond set in the older crowns. The original bracelet given to Queen Victoria can also be seen there. A glass model of the Koh-I-Noor shows visitors how it looked when it was brought to the United Kingdom. Replicas of the diamond in this and its recut forms can also be seen in the vault exhibit at the Natural History Museum in London. During the Second World War, the crown jewels were moved from their home at the Tower of London to Windsor Castle. They were kept in leather hat boxes under lock and key in the office of the Royal Librarian Sir Owen Morshead until 1941, when they were transferred to a specially dug tunnel under the walls of the castle. At this time, Morshead and the keeper of the Tower armories removed some of the larger stones, including the Koh-I-Noor, and wrapping them in cotton wool, inserted them in a glass preserving jar, which was then placed in a biscuit tin, the thinking being that, unlike the bulkier crowns, this would allow their swift relocation if the German invasion occurred.